Listening Colour. Hi everyone, welcome to Listening Colour with me, Rachel Walker-Mason. I am now going to watch the Ren and Chris Webby documentary about the making of Asylum. Oh, here we go.
I think inspiration can be found anywhere.
It's moving.
Yeah.
The clips.
It's starting to look like Pac-Man a little bit. This was unlike anything I've ever experienced. We were just receiving something. We are here at the baggage video shoot, full of clips going on.
Yeah, divine timing, man.
Divine timing. No one could have predicted it was going to be this special, that the chemistry between all of us would have been so strong that we would have just kept writing. Usually you tap out at a point and you start hitting a wall. You just didn't hit that wall.
Amazing. Amazing. Just from the opening few seconds of this, I'm already excited because as a writer, I can tell you that sometimes you're in sessions and it's going all right and you're kind of, you know, it's the inspiration's coming. Sometimes it just doesn't and you're sitting there thinking, this is awful. It's the best job ever, being a songwriter, when the inspiration is flowing. When it's not, it just feels like wading through custard. It's really not fun. And you kind of wonder, oh, how long should we keep going before we just, you know, call it a day? So it's really exciting to hear that they had just this epic flow. And you can feel that. You can feel that in the album, that there were just so many songs. They must have written even more than that and then narrowed it down to that particular collection. And there is something, a lot of people say actually, whether they believe in God or not, that there's this kind of something kind of divine, something in the universe brings the right writers together at the right time. And it's like you're like downloading from somewhere. It's like the inspiration is just dropping straight into your head and coming out of you. And the more you get into that flow, the better the writing gets. So I do a lot of writing camps, and I often find that it's on about day 4 of the writing camp. Your writing is just the best it's ever been because there's something about the environment of all being together, all these creatives together, everybody getting really relaxed and kind of leaving the rest of the world behind, where you're just sort of locked into this creativity, and the writing just gets better and better and better throughout the week. So on the final day, and usually there's a concert that evening, so they always say, oh, don't, you know, try not to write anything too big that morning because we've already got the setup for the concert with all the new songs in it. And then everybody writes an absolute banger on that last day. Even though you've got less time because there's a concert in the evening, you tend to write your best song. And that's happened to me. And actually, pretty much every camp I've done, the song that I've written on the last day has been put onto that artist's album and has done really well. And there's just something about being together for that length of time and letting it kind of marinate. So I very much felt that with Ren and Chris Webby with this album. And it's really exciting to hear that that's exactly how it was.
I like that. I feel like something this vibe with us would go very hard.
Yeah, something sort of reggae or skunky ball vibe, yeah.
Yeah.
Like fun, where you could like kind of weave in the pocket on the verses too.
I wonder if you could start with like
Yeah, that's like, that should be the B section of the chorus, bro.
Separate my soul when we're suffering, no let go. got to go. Don't wait for the wind. Separate myself. Feel the faces rising low. I'm not quite there.
What's that line?
This just makes me so happy. This is such a fantastic example of a songwriting, co-writing session going really well. This is kind of what, for a lot of us writers, this is what our life is like. Maybe not with such megastars as Ren and Webby, but this kind of thing where you're just sitting around playing guitar, playing keys, or bouncing some ideas around, and both your brains are wired in a way that just fits into the gaps of the other. But that only happens when you are very generous writers. If you are a creator that only really likes the sound of their own music and their own voice, collaboration is not for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just means you just don't collaborate. Like Prince or Lindsey Buckingham, people like that notoriously like to have their own way and be able to play all the parts and do all the things, which is fine. But people who tried to collaborate with them didn't have the best time because there wasn't any space for anyone else's ideas. So these two artists, it just shows they're both very generous artists who don't come to a session completely prepared. They come with little ideas and just noodle around, and then that's how they can sort of fit together like a jigsaw. And that is what I always say to people who are going into co-writing sessions. I'm like, it's like improv. You say yes and, rather than shutting down someone's idea and going, no, I don't like that. No, I don't like that. You say, yeah, and we can do this. And you can hear when Ren's playing this and he says, oh, how about this? And Webby goes, yeah, I feel like this would go hard here, and then we could do this. It's all yes and. So everything's building each other up, and they feel trust with each other's ideas, and they're respecting each other's ideas. And it's really interesting looking at their other musical influences, because we know they both like rap and hip hop and things, obviously, but there is a lot of reggae influence in there, and rock, and lots of other things, blues, all sorts. So I love that. I love kind of nerding out about people's musical influences and sometimes film and TV influences. And because you look at their music videos and you're like, well, something must have inspired that weird thing that happened there. And they just seem to mesh in their kind of quirkiness. And it's lovely seeing this. It's like family members coming together after many years and just sharing. It's really lovely. So let's get back and see how the magic happened. Also, how cool is this room with all the arcade games? My kids would be like, Mummy, can we go there? So cool.
Driving through the county line, I come for humankind. Daylight knocking at my door. It's time.
You got him.
And if I must, I'll kill you. Oh,
that's a trip.
Instigator.
Yes. Instigator is fucking fire.
Instigator.
Yep.
And just kind of
That's our
repeat.
tagline. I think we could definitely change what leads into it, but instigator is fucking, that's it. That's fucking money.
And it's very reggae.
Yes.
As well.
Yep.
Yeah.
We kind of both looked at each other and were like, yo, we should just do a whole project.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, it seemed kind of like there's no way to have predicted where this would have gone. But the chemistry was there, and that was clear as day.
The thunder come.
Yeah, that's fucking dope. It was like the type of chemistry you don't see every day. I've worked with a lot of people, and I don't know. It was something special, and I think we could both tell that. And we were like, yeah, we'll get back to this.
Now, I have to say, working in a room as noisy as the arcade that's at Webby's house, and Webby doing a shooting game and stuff, I couldn't cope with that. I need it to be a little bit quieter and calmer, and everyone's drinking tea and noodling on instruments. But if you have ADHD, that environment is perfect. And so Webby, we often talk about, probably has ADHD. Ren possibly does as well. They almost having other distractions in the room, like noises and things you can do, can help you focus on the other thing without it becoming too big an issue. And your brain kind of works in a different way. So you're thinking about the music kind of somewhere here, but you're focused on, shooting whatever it is in that game. So it's really interesting watching their writing process, how casual that was, but it worked for them. And then a little bit there, they showed them in a much quieter room, which is possibly, a more of a studio or Webby's lounge or something like that, with the lighting much lower. Everyone's sitting around, Ren's on the floor on guitar. That is more my kind of setup for writing. And most of the artists I know and writers I know prefer that second setup. But I know that Sam Ryder, who is currently in Jesus Christ Superstar, some of my friends have written with him, and he is exactly like Webby in that he's got ADHD and he's kind of all over the place, noodling things and doing things, and he is listening, but he appears not to be. And so Webby appeared not to be listening, but he was. And so you have to, if you're working with someone whose brain works like that, you have to just accept them as they are, because they're never going to be someone who sits still and just stares at you and writes a song. So there's a real acceptance here of how both of their personalities work and both of their writing processes work. No one was expected to be anyone else or fit in with how the other person worked. And I think that's how they got so comfortable so quickly, that neither of them were expecting the other to be anything other than what they are. And that's really beautiful.
Neurodivergent started in my studio. I was listening to like some Russian Soviet era music, and like some of their riffs are kind of in that world, just like with that bass line, that moving bass line.
Yeah.
So I knew that when we played that one for Ren, he was gonna flip, and he did.
Perfect.
I had started writing something to it, really just more ideas.
Anthem for neurodivergence, from like autism, ADHD, fucking whatever fucking weird shit you got, like get down. Like fuck being normal type shit. You know?
And what's the mumbling about?
So a lot of music making for me is intuition.
Yeah.
A lot of the time I'll just kind of like mumble when I create, or just like do the instinctual thing. I think a lot of it comes from instinct, right? What feels good, what comes out straight away. And usually the first idea is the right idea.
So the mumbling thing, this is something that I actually teach quite a lot in songwriting as well, because people can get really tripped up by needing the first lyrics they come out with to be absolute perfection. And they don't. You need to just start making noise so you're not sitting there frozen. And there's a technique that some people call Ken Lee, other people just call it mumbling. So Peter Gabriel is really famous for doing this. And it's a woman who thinks that the song Without You, the Mariah Carey song, can live if living is without you. She can't speak English.
Can't live without you. Can't live with you more.
So it's just sort of noises. And so that became known as the Ken Lee technique. I actually learnt about it on my master's. And it's a really useful technique to just open your mouth and make some noises. And it doesn't matter if they don't make sense. So that's exactly what Ren is doing there. And you're just getting the rhythm and the shape of the line. And then I always do a little voice notes. My phone is just full of voice notes of that kind of thing, of like nonsense. But sometimes you'll form a particular sound and you'll go, oh, that word sounds like it wants to be something like reach or you know, something like that, it kind of forms a kind of word. And I've been in sessions before where people have been doing that, and then I go, oh, that word sounds like preacher, and they were saying something that sounded a bit like peaches, and then we wrote a whole song called Tell the Preacher I'm Gone, based on that kind of preacher kind of sound that one of them did. And so magic can come out of that, of just that instinct kind of thing that Ren is doing there, just like letting it flow. So that is something that a lot of artists use. And then Webby is sitting there on his phone, which he might just be playing like Angry Birds or something, but probably not. He's probably writing down some lyrics or going back through his like list of bits of songs. So I always have that in my phone. I have like a rolling list of bits of lyrics that I can pull from in any session. And then I just start making notes of stuff or kind of writing some stuff down. And then when I've got something, I go, oh, how about this? So it always looks like I'm just messing around on my phone, but that's actually me working. It just looks like I'm not. And that's what Webby's doing here, I think.
Yeah, I have so many beats.
Yo, we should play him that fucking casket shit too.
It's almost like a spiritual thing, because it's like you're trying to find the thing that exists and take it from the ether and bring it into existence.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, good bass, I like it.
Bro, you're gonna love this one. I have a couple ideas on this one too. I gotta dig them up, but
There's no tears now, not a prayer, but if I were oh so young, oh, there's some love for you, for me, let go. There's no desire for affection. Mountain, some more about golden sand. Taking back to you, the spirit sound. There's not time and waste alone, or fear bound. There's no way around, so we're both. There's no kids at the back.
Beautiful. Right, just before we go into the next one. So what's happening here? I can always tell the difference when Ren has originated the track on either keys or guitar, or when it's producer like beats first. And that one I can tell it's beats first, which is lovely. So essentially what they're doing there is the producer has kind of created the soundscape and the beat, and then Ren comes in and toplines it. And so I am principally a topliner. That is what I'm hired to do, is toplining, because that's my favourite thing. I don't really like doing the production stuff. It's not really what interests me. So I can either create the base of the music on keys or guitar or something like that. But my favourite thing to do is when there's already a track kind of made, for me to come in and topline it. And toplining is basically the melody and the lyrics, which is my favourite thing. So that's what Ren is doing there. It's called toplining. And you'll see that in studios all across the world, and us just going, and then coming out with the whole song. I can always tell when it's Ren having originated the track on guitar, because there's usually a much more intricate guitar pattern underneath it. So the ones they were doing earlier in this documentary, I could tell just for the first time I listened to them that it was built guitar up. And that's what gives this album a really nice balance. You've got some that are live instrument created and some that are a beat created, and they kind of sit really nicely alongside each other. So I think that's what kind of helps the album to have such a lovely flow and have a lot of variety within it.
They say I'm bad company,
Yeah, I'm a threat to myself.
That's the kind of melody that my voice can carry really well with all this texture and shit that I got. It's got a bluesy kind of vibe.
At this point, they know I'm way past help. I never cared about the doctor's orders. I just play with the hand that I got dealt. So they say I'm bad company. Yeah, I'm a threat to myself.
What's happening at the moment with Instigator, you're losing, because your vocals are such a wall of sound, you're losing the bum bum bum, and that's a cool thing. So we need to find a way, balance-wise, where that cuts through, because otherwise you lose the coolness of it going into your acapella, just because that's such a cool fucking line.
It is.
I just noticed it was getting a bit
now that you mention it, I realized that it did get swallowed, because I wasn't even hearing it as much.
Yeah.
It may be a little tricky, but...
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I love that. I love that they understand the balance of their voices. Ren has a much cleaner, kind of crisp voice that fits around those beats, so the beats still kind of pop really nice and clean. But Webby has got a totally different voice. It's fascinating, his voice. There's so much going on in it. I'd love to look at like a file of what his body's doing when he sings, because he's got like this rasp in it, but it's very wide. He's got this very bright kind of nasalized sound. So there's a lot of this twang at the top, which is kind of an American thing anyway, but his is very pronounced. And I think that's because of where he's from. But his is very forward. So that tends to cut through the track and make the vocal like very like hard, like a punch. And then he's got this kind of almost like on his vocal folds, there's something going on. It's probably smoking and things like that, but it's like there's some like fuzz on there, which is probably like phlegm or something, but you get this kind of rattle on it as well. So that creates all these different kind of layers of sound, which is very complex and it rings out more. It's got like a fatter sound to it. So even when he stops singing, there's still that noise at the end of the note. So I understand what Ren means here, and you want the beats to still pop, otherwise the whole thing gets a bit mushy and you can't really tell what's going on. And a lot of that can be done in post, in like balancing things within the track, and they can pull the vocal back and things like that, or take out reverb and things. But it's usually better if it's recorded in a more crisp way, because it's less work for the engineers to have to do, and it's more honest as well. It's more like their real voices doing that, and we know how it turns out. We know that Instigator is an absolute masterpiece, so they obviously figure out how to do that because the balance is exactly right in the song. Yeah.
Yeah, we back on that loose again, representing that loony bin. Give a fuck if I lose or win when that spider bite go right through the skin. Venom hit when I strike the fang, got a monster locked up inside my brain. Can wrestle with them like fighting bang, but I know that part of me likes the pain.
Look at them all having the best time. Woo! I love that. That was just the juxtaposition of them all being in the studio in the low lights and stuff, and then cutting to them eating breakfast the next morning. It's just, yeah, this is the life of a writer, and it's kind of magical when you hit that stride in the studio. And the studios are nearly always windowless. That's why we're so pale all the time. That's why I look like this. They're usually under like weird neon lights, and everything's very dark, and everyone's sitting on sofas or like lying on the floor and things to be as comfortable as possible. And then you're like rocking out to the beats you've just made. It's honestly the oddest thing for people who don't live that kind of life, they're like, what are you even doing? But for those of us that do, we're like, we understand that. That's like, you watch other people do that and then it makes you immediately want to go and write something. You get so inspired and so like synced into their energy. It's amazing. And what's amazing, incredible, is having a producer right there that gets you. I love writing with a producer in the room because you can do stuff in real time rather than writing it on keys or whatever and then going, okay, so here we'd love for this to happen. And then it doesn't because there's no producer there. So you have to wait for the whole song to be taken over to the producer. There's something that is so kind of instantaneous about having a producer there that really gets you, that you have this conversation with. And JP really gets both of them. They can have this kind of like shorthand, and he's got masses of musical influences as well. Like the fact he was looking up like Russian music and things, like he's out there looking at stuff, you know, rather than only understanding the genre that Ren and Webby are writing in. Like he's got so much like this encyclopedic kind of knowledge of music, which you kind of need to have because you need to pull from different genres as a writer and a producer. And it's fantastic having the producer in the room because they can do it straight away. You say, oh, I'd love this kind of beat or something that sounds a bit like da-da-da from this song. They can go and just find the beat or make it. And you can then finish the track rather than just writing it as a voice note or something. You can have it actually done and recorded in one. And there's something really gratifying about that. You've got the final version. And it still needs to be mixed and mastered and stuff, but it's basically there with all the vocals in it, all the layers of track. And there's things that happen when you're in a studio with the producer and all the writers that's just magical, that you don't get if you're not all there together. And it's, you can feel that in some of the songs. I can feel that in Tarantula, that final section particularly. It felt like a party in the studio. And and it was amazing. I loved it.
How's it coming? So right, I'm not loving my vocals today, to be honest, but I'll comp the whole thing so it's there.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just feeling a fucking bit weird inside, and sometimes that translates to the take. It just sounds a little bit forced and not like.
No, I hear you.
You know, when sometimes it just doesn't have the vibe, and I know on those days if I push through, it just doesn't seem to fucking come to fruition.
Yeah.
No, I just know days like this from when I'm back home recording. If I'm back home, I normally just be like, yeah, it's not a vocal day, and it's sometimes even if my fucking vocal range is there, sometimes it's just like.
Yeah. No, if you don't have it's the sauce. You need to have the sauce.
Man. Yeah.
I feel you. Sometimes I push through that and ignore that and probably shouldn't.
Interestingly, as a vocal teacher, I know that we only have 7 good singing days a year. That's depressing, right? 7 good singing days a year where everything aligns, where there's not too much pollen, where we're not too tired, where we're not angry, where we're not emotional. It's even worse if you're a woman because of periods and, you know, your hormones being all over the place and hitting menopause and lots of things like that. We have 7 good singing days a year. So what Ren and Webby are saying there is, some days you can sort of push through. It's not one of your 7 good singing days, because invariably one of your 7 good singing days will be a day where you're doing nothing anyway. Then you're like, oh, I seem to sound really good today. But our job is to sound good on the rest of the non-singing days, which is a lot more than the 7 good singing days. But some days you'll find it's just not happening. And then it's not great, particularly if you're recording, to push through. Sometimes you don't have an option. Sometimes the studio's booked and you've got deadlines and you have to just do it. But if you can not sing, like just have a rest or go and have a mental health day or something on a day where it's just not happening, that's better, because you can't really push through that. Sometimes there's just stuff going on. You've been, you know, particularly if you've flown a long way, like I find my voice is awful for a couple of days after I've flown somewhere because of the air in the cabin and stuff. It's not much fun. So, and then, you know, long writing sessions like that, they go on into the night, you know, it's exhausting. So you've got to give your body time to kind of catch up and have a break. So yeah, having a rest on those days where it's not happening is something we need to do as singers.
I was the favourite back where I'm from.
I was God's something. I was the morning sun. And he ended with I was the morning sun.
And then something about like I got cast down, you know. Still out, like, cause I was the favorite. Like, back where I'm from.
Yes. I was the favorite. The morning sun.
That's fine.
We needed a little Janis Joplin moment. We need that. Let's rip it up, Webb. Rip them vocal cords to motherfucking shreds.
I still remember back where I was from. See, I was the favorite. The morning sun. See, I had ideas, but they said they're too grand. So they casted me out without reason to doubt. Now there's blood on my hands.
So this is the first song of the album that I think any of us heard. So this is the first time I ever heard Chris Webby, his voice, him singing. And so I thought, oh, that's quite a rocky, edgy voice. And then hearing him on other tracks, I was like, oh, that's a completely different voice. I love him on this. I love him on all of them. His voice is so interesting. But the way he does this, I love that he said, oh, I need to get a bit of Janis Joplin out. He's got this kind of raw kind of edge to it, which is perfect for this song. It's got this kind of bluesy kind of, you feel the pain in it. And the way he does this kind of as Lucifer, it's just perfection. It's the balance of the two characters. And I've heard people say about, this was one of the last songs they wrote. And it's sometimes I can hear, I see colours when I hear music. Sometimes I get a feeling about the song, or I can like taste it. And with this one, it's like biting into like a gold coin. So I can't actually bite it, but there's something solid and about it that I only get when I listen to some things. And there's something, I don't know, about this that just felt really special. I could tell it was an amazing writing session, the way it all came out and the ideas. I can like feel the ideas. I can feel the energy in the song. And that's really exciting to me. And so that's the first I heard from this album. And I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing. Amazing. So this is very exciting watching this and seeing what synergy there was in the room, that everybody was having a bit of input and coming up with, oh, he would have felt this, or perhaps he'd be feeling like that. And I think that really helped with the story they were telling. They had so much interesting backstory that really rounded the characters out. So I think that's why we all connect to this song in such a like visceral way, because the characters feel really real and fleshed out. And that was because of this session. Amazing.
Webby is such a fucking interesting artist, and I've spoken to him a lot, and I know that a lot of where he comes from is from such a place of like considerate care and so much like attention to detail in the care. When he thinks that something that I've done is maybe a little bit like that I could try a bit harder, maybe a little bit lazy in a lyric, he'll just pull me up on it, and it really inspired me to go a little bit further as well. And even if it's going to take double the amount of time, he will stay there until he really gets it right. And I've got a lot of love for that man, and he's so fucking talented, bro. And I really don't say that lightly, mate. Really don't say that lightly. I think this collaboration for a lot of people was really unexpected. I think because of the perceived difference in political opinions and stuff like that, particularly. I think that I really wanted to show an example, right, of something that I really stand on, is that we need to stop alienating and making us versus them and the other and this because of a difference in opinion on certain things. Yeah. It's just really important that we find threads of commonality. And and avoid this world turning into a fucking madhouse, complete madhouse. And yeah, I hope that when people listen to this album, that's what they feel. They feel unity, they feel togetherness, and they feel something that's created just for the love of music and for the sake of that, for the sake of music, man.
To you, the listener, I hope you enjoyed what we did here. Mm-hmm. These guys and me, we just killed this album.
You did.
It's incredible. Yeah, you know, and I don't feel bad saying that. It is. Objectively, or subjectively. Objectively? Subjectively, the best album I've heard in a decade, easily.
I agree.
Yeah, I'll go on record. This is the best album of the decade.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Prove me wrong.
Oh my gosh, that was so good. I think every album should have a documentary made about the making of the album, but I think most albums were not as fun to make as that one. I love seeing their friendship kind of grow, and Ren is so right that they are very different people, and they're from different places, they have different political kind of standings, and that's okay, and that is okay, and I love that they're finding the commonalities, the common threads, rather than the differences. And Ren is right, the world would be a much better place if we all did that. I love being friends with people with different religion than me, different political leanings. I love that because they're all still people, and you can connect on so many levels, and then you can have some quite interesting debates, and you can learn things about stuff that you don't know because you stand a different side of the line. And when you care about someone, you'll listen differently than if you see them as an enemy, see them as different to you. So I think this album, as well as being, I would agree, the greatest album of the decade, I would agree with that. I also think it's doing a lot for bringing people together, people looking at the world differently, being more caring towards each other, thinking about people who are neurodivergent, who have different issues. It's a really all-encompassing album that was evidently this magical time to make. You can feel the energy, you can feel, it's almost like a spiritual download when you're in a session like that. It just kind of, and you just have to be open to that download of the music. And I've been in sessions like that, and it's so amazing that other sessions just feel kind of pants comparatively because you don't always get that magic. Wow. I was so glad they made that documentary. So glad. And for everyone who recommended me watching that, you were absolutely right. I loved it. Please remember to like, subscribe, share and comment. I love all your comments, so please keep them coming, and remember to have a colourful day. Listening